right, here we go, everybody. Game 4. So Mafia currently up 2-1. If they do take home this win versus Team Kraken, they will go ahead and take home the championship for the Liga Runaterra de las Americas. And to finish things out here, potentially, we have Pirucream versus another Hipster. And Pirucream from Team Kraken, another Hipster from Team Mafia Esports. So we'll see who's able to take home the W for their team. Will Kraken be able to tie this up? Let's see.
Deep versus Ezreal Swain to start us off.
So, as I was saying, Nallup taking the win over Carsey puts Mafia up 2-1 here. So, let me pull this up real quick. So, if Pirucream wins, we go to a game 5.
Yes.
If Pirucream loses, and instead another Hipster wins, then we actually theoretically it's over because that's 3 wins. For
I would imagine they wouldn't make them play it out. It's like, hey, I know you guys lost, but get in there anyway, champ.
You still gotta play. We need the viewership. Come on, you gotta play.
I just want to drag this one out.
So game 1, another Hipster versus Pirucream. We have the Swain Ezreal, which is absolutely everywhere. And I gotta say, I do like the changes they made to Ezreal, but man, do I hate playing this on ladder. I hate. Because you literally everything you play just gets killed. It just instantly gets killed. It's definitely as good of an Ezreal deck as we've seen in the past. It does what it's supposed to do. It stalls out the game. It removes all your units and leads you up to an eventual Ezreal win condition. Not so much as much of an OTK as it used to be in the past, but it still has the potential to OTK and does usually do enough chip damage between things like Death's Hand and Swain and Leviathan to put you in a pretty easy range to get lethal with the Ezreal and his level 2 effect.
So a really long consideration on the side of Hipster, who does eventually go for the Ezreal. I would imagine it's hard in situations like this. I would imagine you just throw out that Mystic Shot onto either the Thorny Toad or Face, probably the Toad. But with all this backup in hand, you're not really worried about like a Jaw Hunters coming down and, you missed your opportunity to play the fleeting Mystic Shot on it. No, I do think this is a really safe play on the side of Hipster. There's no Grasp of the Undying. That's not something that we've seen players pick back up yet, and I don't know that we will, because now Ezreal levels so quickly that you're really not finding an opportunity to actually, have him come down as a 1-3. More often than not, he's going to come down already leveled.
Yeah, generally that is the case, especially with only 6 targets now. What?
Is it Halloween?
Is it Halloween?
Yeah, because I saw something spooky.
What are you talking about right now? Are we suddenly in a spooky karma match or what?
No, I'm looking at the deep deck list.
Oh, wow.
And there's only one Abyssal Eye.
There's only one Abyssal Eye?
There's only one Abyssal Eye.
What is it with these weird builds of these deep decks? This is so we saw a deep deck earlier that had a lot of followers. This one has less followers and more spells. And would you look at that? Passage Unearned. This card is terrible. Don't play it.
Oh, you're spectating Pirucream.
I'm spectating another Hipster.
Oh, okay. I thought Pirucream top decked the Unearned Passage, and that sparked the revolution in SJW's mind. But just looking at the deck list and getting viscerally angry. No, I understand that.
Oh no, viscerally was the correct word, Boulevard. I am viscerally angry. This is not. I hate this card with a burning passion. It's so bad. I don't know why people. It's for the same reason we're like, why aren't there missed calls? Or again, no missed calls and no Stalking Shadows in this version. Just 2 salvage, 2 jettison, and a passage unearned.
SJW, you're joining me in my curse of having foresight and not being believed. And in 2 weeks when missed call starts coming out in deep decks on Master Rep, better yet, when some total knob random who qualified through the gauntlet wins the seasonal tournament with missed call deep, don't come crying to Boulevard, because he told you.
Oh man, no, dude, I agree with you. We've talked about this so many times, but I mean, we'll see. Deep has been, I don't want to say a strongly represented deck, but it has been represented consistently since its inception, right? Kind of like mid-range Frostbite. Now, mid-range Frostbite, when it comes up, is played like almost everywhere, generally speaking. But Deep even though not played everywhere, it always sticks around. It always is a relevant deck. It's okay. I think when Riot released the stats, if I remember correctly, Deep's win rate on ladder is actually sub 50%. So it's actually not doing very well at all, but people still play the deck. It was actually a pretty highly played deck. So I'm curious to see how it does here in the tournament today. I think we saw one other game and it lost, right?
Yeah. No, it won. It snuck out that atrocity.
Oh, that's right. No, it ran. Okay, yeah. So that barely won. That barely won. So I don't know if I count that one or not. But hey, a win is a win. Atrocity is a win, right? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we're gonna have another Hipster passing it back over to Pirucream there, and Thermo Beam off the top, and Thermo Beam coming back with a vengeance, man. This card was nowhere to be found, but where Ezreal is, you will find Thermo Beam very closely in his wake. Usually a 3 of now. I'm trying to see, is it a 3 of?
You want to talk about 3 ofs? We're staring at 3 Mystic Shot, 3 Thermo Beam in hand. I don't know if you picked up on that one, but
that is removal if I have ever seen it.
And honestly, Thermo Beam, outside of killing Maokai, really doesn't feel great into these deep decks. You know, if you ever try to play a mana efficient one down onto a sea monster and they just go deep in response, we do see 19 cards left in Pirucream's deck, so the chances of them just firing off a jettison and going deep in response to a Thermo Beam is, I don't know how possible it is. The one thing that I cannot track is what has been tossed, because that's still kind of bugged on the sidebar. Maybe both jettisons were tossed already. They weren't. I just checked. So yeah, that is an option.
Yeah, it's interesting too. So, and I kind of want your input on this, Boulevard. I've noticed, because I actually played a couple games with Ezreal Swain myself just to get a feel for the deck, and I found myself actually being okay with and wanting to play Ezreal earlier more often than I had in the past.
I think that right now it's really important to have a backup win con and not play Ezreal as your prime source of dropping your opponent's Nexus HP to 0, which is why I think another reason that people really like it in this deck particularly is that there's a lot of burn available in a Swain deck. You know, the Death Sands are going at face, you've got these Mystic Shots that you're loading up on. I think that Karma Ezreal will have a chance a little bit later on, but Piltover and Zon decks that lean on PNZ win cons like Heimerdinger and Ezreal, historically they need a little bit more time to feel out the meta and build appropriately. And even then, I think that we're going to have to see a much higher presence of Get Excited than players are comfortable with in order to turn on that Karma win con.
No, I agree 100%, and I kind of like that, right? Because I know before, like Karma Ezreal, the win con was make it to turn 10, get a leveled Karma, get a leveled Ezreal on the field, win the game. That was it. And it doesn't feel so polarized now where it's just like, well, if you don't have a leveled Ezreal, like you lose, you can actually just win without Ezreal. If you could just get, a Swain Leviathan lock, like that is a thing. That is a win condition. And Leviathan, as a 2 of in most of the versions of this deck that we've seen, is just a huge card in and of itself. So I kind of like that about this deck now, not having to go all in on Ezreal. It actually makes him feel like a card and like more of a card and less of a, oh, well, I just need to keep this in my back pocket until the end of the game.
The current Ezreal is very close to the Ezreal nerf that I had wanted when he got pushed back to 10 targets.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is, and I think most people actually wanted something dealing 1 damage worked in there, and I think most people are very, very happy with how Ezreal turned out. But we do have the Mystic Shot onto the Dead Bloom Wanderer there, so going to get rid of that lifesteal, and still plenty of removal options in hand for another Hipster. Those Thermo Beams are going to come in handy when something like, Nautilus it won't kill, because Nautilus 13 tough, which feels really bad, but it will kill the other deep units.
I think Hipster's kind of weighing his options here, saying how badly do I really want to level this Ezreal? You know, my opponent's so close to deep anyway. Is it fine to kill this? I think the answer is no. They're going deep this turn anyway, but I don't know. It's kind of hard because this Calling Strike isn't going to get a lot of value in this matchup. It's really just only if they play a Maokai at this point or, try to get a Maokai sapling. So yeah, really, Maokai has to be on the table for this to come down, as you have now Mystic Shotted away most of the Dead Bloom Wanderers. And I was actually a little surprised to see Mystic Shot instead of Dead Bloom there, although I do think that was that a fleeting Mystic Shot or was that a real Mystic Shot?
I think it was a fleeting Mystic Shot.
I realized I think I can check. Okay, yeah, so the fleeting Mystic Shot went onto a Spiderling and then a real Mystic Shot. I think I would have actually preferred to see the Calling Strike onto that, just so that you can hang on to these and understanding that this isn't coming down. Maybe you wanted to save it for the Maokai. I don't know. We're just gonna go with the game as is, and now gonna have to stun out this Nautilus. But this is representing a massive threat, and Hipster. I mean, is he gonna try to string together like back-to-back thermo beams? Because technically that would do it. You would push 6 damage onto it this turn and then 7 onto it on the following turn.
Boulevard, I have bad news for you.
What is that?
If I hover Ezreal... Oh, wait, nope, never mind. For the first time I hovered it, it didn't show me, at least I imagined it didn't show me his level up, but we are 5 out of 6 of his level up. That is right, folks. We can see how many targets Ezreal is at. That was like the biggest... It was just Ezreal. Ezreal was literally the reason why I even wanted to see champion level ups in the first place.
Oh, that's great for you. Do you know how many pieces of notebook paper I went through tracking Maokais?
Killing trees over there, Boulevard. Way to go.
Yeah.
But
I have cool notebooks too, and now some of them are useless because they're full of Maokai tracking.
The stun on the Nautilus, though, definitely going to come in big here. It shuts down this attack turn. Looks like we're going to be going for the double 7 mana Thermo Beam, or whenever we're able to get the 7 mana for the next one. Which, God, that feels so bad, but
I mean, if you commit your entire turn to it, Hipster does get to kill the Nautilus next turn.
Yeah, and this is the targets, right? I don't think you really feel too bad about getting your Ezreal targets with 2 Thermo Beams onto a Nautilus, just because you are removing a Nautilus. Now,
so we're going for it. I kind of like this, just pushing a little bit of damage. I'm not sure I love it because there is still a decent amount of healing left in Pirucream's deck, but that is what we're going to go for. Throw this out for 2 damage, just a 0 mana Mystic Shot. Cool, I guess.
Well, we can't. So Pirucream can't kill the Ezreal at all this turn with 2 mana. It's impossible.
No.
We could next turn with something like a Vengeance, an Atrocity, or some combination of like Wither and Wail, Double Vile Feast, etc.
Oh.
What?
Okay. I didn't expect the 3rd Thermo Beam.
I didn't expect that either. It looks like he's just going all out. I think he understands that. I think another Hipster understands that the Ezreal's probably dying next turn. So right now you have 6 damage in hand with the Mystic Shots. You have 2 more with the Culling Strike. That's 8.
So my problem with that is that you could have killed the Nautilus this turn with that Thermo Beam.
Well, not if you have a read on Piru's hand and now you just have 9 damage. I think you just have game now. Wait, 2, 6, 9. So you're one short of game. Actually, you don't have the mana for 3 Mystic Shot and a Culling Strike. So it depends. If you rummage, you could draw into Ravenous Flock.
Yeah, so letting the Nautilus live means that now we're getting a removal down onto the Ezreal, and we still have all the mana in the world to respond with another form of removal. And yeah, we did not find lethal here. This is only 9 damage represented, and that might be enough because we do have the Leviathan to play on the next turn. But if there is a Vengeance or something, and actually, if there is a Vengeance, I would assume that it's going to come out onto the Ezreal to prevent 3 damage.
I don't think there is, though, because it would have came out on the open attack, right?
That's true.
So,
yeah, that's probably
true. Think, do you consider double Mystic Shotting the Devourer to save this Ezreal? Because you're still going to get 4 damage to the face. You're only missing out on 2 damage. And you actually, I think, have a chance of saving the Ezreal for next turn and getting another draw.
That seems reasonable. It is scary, though, because your opponent could very easily just have another Devourer of the Depths.
That would be terrible. That would be. Why are you always gonna give the worst case scenario, Boulevard?
That's my job, man. That's why they pay me.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to have another Devourer too, because like Nautilus has reduced the cost of everything, and it just feels terrible to. Once Nautilus comes down, there's not much you can really do to stop the onslaught of Devourers. It looks like another Hipster is gonna go ahead and not. Invest all that time and energy into. Is
one of these an Ezreal? That is an Ezreal's Mystic Shot. He does have another Ezreal in hand. Why didn't we hover that and find it out?
I don't know. Here we go. It is an Ezreal Mystic Shot. I'm still getting used to this. Okay.
No, I understand.
All right.
It's up to us to determine the cards in hand now.
So yeah, actually, that's a huge deal. Obviously, we're not playing it here. We actually. Depending on if Pirucream summons something is going to depend on if Pirucream just wins with the open attack. We need to develop
I think that
units.
Pirucream... So I like a pass out of Hipster here, because if Pirucream has another form of removal, I would hard think that he's going to throw it out onto this and try and go for lethal on the following turn.
Oh.
He might be a little bit afraid of something like a Noxian Guillotine down onto the Nautilus being a blowout if he tries to commit too much removal this turn.
I don't know if...
There's that one Abyssal Eye.
Jesus. All right, I think that is going to be game then, especially if there's a... Yep. Well, that will actually turn into a sea monster at the beginning of the turn.
Yeah, we'll see if that's a 7/7 or if it's... I mean, if that's like a Terror of the Tides is a super high roll, Abyssal Eye is a high roll, anything else is, just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, we say high roll, but it's like you're getting a 7/7 no matter what. You just made a 3-mana 7/7.
There we go. That's a high roll. So generally, when I say high roll, if you're looking at I have good outcomes and bad outcomes, any good outcome I'm gonna call a high roll, and any bad outcome I'm gonna call a low roll.
Okay, so we actually live here. Okay, we would live through that attack, and it looks like we. Okay, there it is. Okay, I was like, wait, are we not going to attack with the other two? But yeah, so we actually live through both Abyssal Eyes and this Thorny Toad if we block with both Arachnoid Sentries. And it doesn't look like if Pirucream's just about to, even if he wasn't locking that in, that pretty much shows that there's no removal available. And this means that Leviathan is likely, I mean, we could go Swain.
Leviathan is scary because I think Hipster really wants to represent Noxian Guillotine, especially now that 2 more cards have been drawn by Pirucream. Pirucream is running 2 copies of Atrocity. I haven't checked how many were tossed. If you want to stall while I see if I can track that down.
So Swain, the other thing too is Swain would bait out removal. Because the biggest thing about Leviathan right now is if you're able to get it to stick on 1 turn, then that allows you to get 3 more damage through.
All right, let me run some numbers by you real quick.
All right, let's hear it.
So there are 9 cards in your opponent's hand and 10 cards in their deck. They have tossed 0 Atrocity.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And we might even actually just see an open Atrocity onto something like the Abyssal Eye. Yep. There it is. Playing around that removal spell, and the Noxian Guillotine is just going to have the lethal for Pirucream. And that is going to put Team Kraken up 1-0 in this series. So, match number 5 could be coming.
Yeah, Kraken off to a good start there. Again, Mafia up 2-1 right now over Kraken, but if Pirucream is able to take home another win here, we will be advancing to a game 5. So good stuff as far as that's concerned. So we'll see. We're about to get into the game here in just a second. I will wait until your call again, Boulevard.
Oh, man. Here I go back into the mine, trying to use my tiny little lungs for good.
Yeah, so far, this has been really interesting so far. I feel like we've gotten a really wide spread of decks. We've gotten aggro, we've gotten control, we've gotten we've gotten scouts. I guess Lux Karma was mid-range, kind of. It's also control-y. It's more towards the control-y.
I mean, Leona Aesol is also mid-range, and that's been actually a much higher presence of lineups than I expected, but I was honestly just so optimistic about the Eclipse Dragon change that I didn't want to, oversell it and say, yeah, this is going to become a meta pick, and it looks like players are getting into the game. I'll let you know if I need to restart my client. Nope, we're all good. They're in the mulligans.
Hey, all right. Game 2 here. Another Hipster playing Pirucream.
And it looks like it was the Shen Shyvana that was banned, so we're going to get Frostbite mid-range for the first time this event.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I'm curious to see how this Ezreal Swain deck... And actually, is this... So... This wasn't the same person, so this is 2 Ezreal Swains now, where we're going with 3 Tri-Beam and Improbulators, is that right?
Yeah, and they're not even on the same team, actually, because I believe it was Vig that had the... So, yeah, actually just... Oh, no, another Hipster's on Vig's team. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, if they're on different teams, maybe this is the new hot take, is that Ezreal and Tri-Beam
this is the Mafia Swain Ezreal build.
Okay. Well, we'll see if he can pick up a win here. I feel like... mid-range Frostbite should have a decent matchup here just because the removal isn't quite good enough sometimes on the side of the Ezreal Swain deck to really deal with some of the, 5/5s with the Avarosian Hearthguards, or if the Hearthguards come out, just the buffs on those units as well. And actually, I say Hearthguards. I didn't even look at the deck yet.
There's Hearthguards.
Okay, there are Hearthguards. Okay.
And this is not the kind of matchup where you really feel super safe playing in Ezreal. There are 3 Calling Strikes, there are Reckonings, and Hipster says, you know what, I don't really have a great chance if this Ezreal doesn't stick. Let me, risk it all here. And what has to be going on in the back of Hipster's mind is, it's okay if I lose, because then we get another match, and then if we lose the series, I can blame it on that guy.
And so the other thing to take into consideration, too, for the mid-range Frostbite deck is you have Trifarian Assessor. We always talk about this stinking card that just draws so many cards. And when you're playing Ezreal Swain, you're using a lot of resources to remove what your opponent has. Now, granted, generally we see some Progress Days. This deck is not playing Progress Day, this Ezreal Swain deck. So getting that reload on cards might be a little difficult. And the Ash Sejuani mid-range Frostbite deck actually feels like it's going to have an easier time getting things on the board, trading them with the Ezreal Swain deck, and then repopulating the board with Trifarian Assessor, or even just getting a Captain Farron down to add those 3 sweet, sweet decimates to your hand.
So historically, Ash Sejuani would fall to Karma Ezreal, but it was always extremely close, and a lot of it happened out of the stun effects, and Will of Ione wasn't super popular at the time, but the Steel Tempests and just things like that were so mana efficient for the units that were coming out of the Frostbite mid-range. I do not think Swain Ezreal comes close in this matchup to what the Karma Ezreal had. I think that this should be not I don't want to say a really easy win for Pirucream, but an easy win for Pirucream. But Hipster has found both Chump Lumps already, so he's going to have a lot of blockers. He's going to be able to fight for board a little bit better. I don't expect these mushrooms to come up. There's, rummages in the deck. That's really what we're trying to save those on for. But we already see a couple of dead cards in hand. This Culling Strike really not going to be able to do a whole lot here. Chump Lump, this is about the best turn that it's going to have. After this, it's all 5/5s.
So I agree with you. You made the comment about Karma Ezreal. It did always feel like it was odd. Like, we'd always say that maybe like the mid-range Frost. I actually remember games where I feel like we said mid-range Frostbite had the advantage, but then the Karma Ezreal would win. So, and then like vice versa, and it was always very close. In this, the differences I feel is that the Karma Ezreal deck generally did end up having the advantage because it had that card generation late in the game with the double casting with the Karma, etc. This deck, really, it has the Leviathan to get a Swain, and that's really it. Like, this deck, once Leviathan and Swain comes down, that's when Pirucream has to start to worry. But I feel like Pirucream will have all the answers because we have Captain Farron will trade with them, and then, which is only a one of, so that's not really a thing. But Reckoning can also remove them with freeze effects. Culling Strike can also remove a pre-leveled Swain. So there's ways for Pirucream to deal with the 2 Leviathans, not 3, which is definitely a big deal, as well as the Swain when they do finally hit the field.
Yeah, and this is not TF. Like, it's weird. This is not Karma Ezreal, and this is not TF Swain, and it has taken sort of some of the lower impact cards from both of those lists. I mean, sure, you still have the Swain, you still have the Leviathan, you can set up that combo, but Riptide Rex did a decent amount of work in a matchup like this, being able to clean up a lot of things on board, especially when Noxian Guillotine was still being played in that deck. Even something like an off-turn Rex going into your opponent's attack turn and then getting really big Noxian Guillotine swings felt really good. And now it feels like Hipster, I mean, there's 2 Yetis somewhere in the top 4. That's not something Hipster's going to be able to manage, but he should be able to swing in with this Swain unless there is a second copy of Culling Strike in Pirucream's hand, which honestly would be a little bit insane. The problem is that it's not like a game-ending Swain hit. It's just 6 damage.
Yeah, so we'll see how... Oh, I always forget with the hand when it pulls up a card. So we'll see if the Swain does get an attack to land here, which would be a pretty big deal. I mean, every little bit of damage will help, especially with Swain getting an extra strike. It's going to end up being 6, and 14 is a lot less. Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That'll do it.
That will shut down the attack. And like I was going to say, so 6 damage is a big deal in this matchup for another Hipster because, as always, mid-range Frostbite, zip, zilch, nada as far as heal is concerned. So any damage you get is going to stick.
So Pirucream is actually kind of starting to gas out here. I mean, we know that there are a couple of Yetis in the top 4, which isn't going to represent anything extra. His board at the moment is nothing in terms of a Trifarian Glory Seeker, a Trifarian Assessor. Maybe as long as Hipster can just keep him off of 5 attack units in order to deny the Assessor draw, maybe that's going to be enough. And the board's still not looking great on the side of Pirucream in terms of having any wiggle room against this Swain, as we do still see the Arachnoid Sentry. We see a Mystic Shot that could line up onto this Ice Veil Archer. You know, the Tri-Beam Improbulator, it's getting up there. It's currently sitting at 3 damage.
Yeah, and the bigger that gets, I mean, so here's the thing with Tri-Beam Improbulator. Tri-Beam Improbulator could be a pretty big swing for another Hipster depending on what comes out of it. And literally anything can come out of this card. Like, it's something that could legit just win the game for another Hipster. If it's a big body, if we can start getting that Tri-Beam, which it just went up once again, if we can start getting that up really high to like 8 or something like that to summon a large unit, things are going to start to look pretty good. Right now it's at 4 after this Arachnoid Sentry. And I mean, heck, even if something big comes down, the Tri-Beam is going to be able to kill it as well. And that's going to be a huge swing in tempo on the field.
And the first Yeti has come down, but still not a lot of cards in hand for Pirucream. I'm curious to see what this Bjerg actually ended up getting, because I think Hearthguard is really what you're looking for here, to be able to turn your other Bjergs into, you know, potential Trifarian Assessor draws. You're going to see Hipster try to fight back a little bit, but honestly, I'm not in love with either player's position. As we do encroach closer to the late game, I'm not seeing a great answer on the side of Pirucream for that Leviathan, and it could be the difference maker. Now the Yetis are out of the way. It's going to be a pretty big attack turn out of Pirucream.
Yeah, this is a wide board. Those 2 Yetis doing work right now, developing that field. That's what they do. I mean, Yetis are all about tempo, right? You have a 1-mana 5/5, seems pretty good. Boulevard, how you feeling about Yeti decks in the current meta?
So I was actually watching Swim play something that was like a Yeti deck earlier. He might have ended up taking it to Fight Night. But he was playing Ancient Yeti and Feel the Rush. And I believe he was also playing Avaros and Trapper. And I think that's about as close to Yetis as we're going to get. Tall Tales is still a little bit out there. I never even remember the name of the card that like draws all Yetis, Poros, and Elmex.
Call of the Wild.
Call of the Wild, yeah. But I mean, we've seen Ancient Yeti pop up in the past in these Frostbite mid-range decks. I'm not sure the matchups that it was there for, but if it is the mirror, then yeah, maybe we move back more towards those Yeti lineups.
Well, on the bright side, for another Hipster, we do have what looks to be a pretty juicy Guillotine coming up here. Problem is we're dangerously low on health. And similar to mid-range Frostbite, another Hipster's Ezreal Swain does not really have any heal in the deck either. So it's going to be rough being able to, you know, commit that much mana to something like a Guillotine while also developing something to defend yourself. And you can't pass here. So if you play one Guillotine, it's very possible Pirucream just passes back on over just to try to get another Hipster to commit the additional mana. In which case, Pirucream might just be able to go wide enough for an open attack to win the game. So this is going to be tough for another Hipster to navigate. We really have to hope here that Pirucream doesn't have any additional units in hand.
Well, we know that he's got a unit that has 5 or more attack, and this is going to be real. So let me tell you about how scary that Trifarian Assessor is, SJW. Your opponent has a 5 attack unit, and they took a very weak draw on the side of this Assessor. Do you know what that tells me about Pirucream's hand?
What does that tell you, Boulevard?
It tells me that his 5 attack unit was unplayable because it's Captain Fair.
Yep. Yep. 100%, because otherwise we would have seen Sejuani come down there to at least shut off the Swain. So yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get the Guillotine. We're going to play mana efficient here so that we can at least get down this blocker in the Chump Wump, which might very well save another Hipster's life.
I was thinking Tri-Beam Improbulator. This is up to 5 damage.
Actually, so Tri-Beam Improbulator does represent the biggest swing, but if you know there's a Captain Farron in hand, I feel like you wait now. You wait until they summon the Farron, and then you play Improbulator on something else to kill a unit and summon a unit.
Probably.
It just feels bad because, so what is it at now? 5 or it's at
5.
Ugh.
You can hover it.
Really? Yeah, I just did. You really want it to be at 8, man. Like it's
That's a big ask. The most you could have gotten it up to, I think, is 6 by playing that Guillotine instead of the Ravenous Flaw.
For this turn, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, which feels bad. So I gotta think. No, all right, he's gonna go with the Improbulator. I really would have liked to see the Chump Wump here. I mean, either way, we can still kind of do the same thing if the Captain Farron comes down. Okay, that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not bad.
It's in a deck like I'm looking at the number of followers and it's 7, and I'm like, oh, it's not great.
So do you attack with the no?
With the swing?
Yeah, just trade. No, never mind.
No.
That was stupid. I thought about it for a second and then realized, nope. So let's pray somehow that the unplayable 5 attack unit was not Captain Fair. Okay. No way. What are you worried about? Like playing a Captain Farron into nothing, right?
I mean, it's really just Thermo Beam, but that's not like a punish. That's just I traded 8 mana for your 8 mana,
which is fine here because now that just
it still puts us in the same position, sort of board state wise, in terms of the attack.
And Ezreal is leveled up, but this feels really bad for another hipster because I don't know. Last time I checked the life total, I don't need to hover anything to see that it's still at 20, and that's not good for the Ezreal player because unfortunately, A, this is not Karma Ezreal. You are not 20-0ing your opponent, and B, Ezreal just got a nerf, so this is not going to look too good.
Yeah, and it looks like Pirucream going in for the all-out attack. Hipster really wants to preserve this Swain. Doesn't have anything in hand to try and even get a level up onto it, and it is just 1 damage shy of getting its level up off and being able to block that Omen Hawk for free. So it is going to be 3 damage coming down. That does mean if Farron is what was grabbed off the Bjerg, then it is lethal on the following turn through the double decimate that he will have the mana for it. But, I mean, I don't know. The last turn definitely read like a Farron to me, but now I can't imagine you wouldn't have played it going into combat. Maybe you were just worried about Arachnoid Sentry. You know, that is feasible. It stuns that and then does develop another blocker, so you don't get to put as much damage.
Possibly. We'll see what another hipster looks to commit here. Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like you have to play the Leviathan at this point.
Just kind of pray.
Well, if anything, you need to play the Leviathan, just start getting damage onto your opponent. like you don't win the game unless you bring him to 0, right? Isn't that how this game works?
All right, so it is not Captain Farron.
Yeah, wow.
Sejuani would have made sense on the turn because, as you had mentioned, it kills Swain. Ash would have even made sense because it at least runs over the Swain. So I'm actually just very curious about what... I mean, is it Glory? No, even Glory Seeker would have made sense. I don't know. All of a sudden, Pirucream's in a rough spot. Still hasn't played this, unit, and now I'm starting to get a little bit worried for him.
Yeah, that's really weird that we still didn't see it come down. I mean, he's not really in danger... Well, actually, never mind. If this Swain attack,
12 damage represented. Yeah, this could be a lethal with this Ezreal if the open attack goes all well here.
Now the question is, do you also play? Because we're on 12 mana, so you would have. Oh no, we have enough mana for a Harsh Winds and a Reckoning. So the concern now is if you play Ezreal, do you just get Harsh Winds and Reckoned?
SJW.
Yeah.
You want to tell me what Pirucream's going to reckon him with?
Oh, there's no 5 man. There's no 5 attack unit on board. Well, that would probably help.
That's a little baby board. You can't reckon with a baby board.
I don't know why. I always feel like Reckoning doesn't actually have the requirement.
Have a requirement, yeah. It's not often that we see Frostbite midrange lacking for a 5 attack unit, or even only having 1 that's susceptible to removal. Generally, they are pretty safe in that regard. But now, Hipster, understanding that the Reckoning is not online, goes as wide as possible. Says, you know what, here is my champion, my other champion, the thing that pillars on it, and then a really good card from a different region who's just coming to visit. Neverglade Collector's going to be here for the weekend. He's going to sleep on the couch. It's okay. Yeah, he smells a little funny, but I promise he's chill.
Smells a little funny. Man, he
smells like the dead.
He straight came from the swamp, man. he does not smell good. And yeah, and then, again, that's the power of Tri-Beam and Probulator. That's really not a bad pull. I mean, when you're this low on life with a deck that has no way to gain life, even 2 more procs of this Neverglade puts you out of range of 2 decimates, and that could actually come in pretty big.
All right, so we're going to continue to stun out the board now using the Ezreal to do it. And this is going to be a really big attack. There has to be a Harsh Winds on the side of Pirucream because we know that he has a unit in hand. We still have not seen what came off this Bjerg. Everything in his deck is playable at this point. So we know that he's got to have a Harsh Winds or some kind of reactive spell for this combat.
What the heck was that unit? Was it just another Assessor, maybe?
No, because it hasn't been buffed up. Can't get Assessor.
There's no Hearthguards that have been played. A Hearthguard might have been a little awkward, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. It is interesting. I'm actually kind of curious now that they're on my friends list. I can bug them. I could just message Pirucream right now, like, "Hey, what's in your hand, buddy?" You can actually just exit out. And hold on,
right in the middle of the game. Like, hey,
hold on. Let me exit this spectate and go check out Pirucream's hand real quick. I do like how quickly I'm able to get from one game to the next. So.
All right, let's see it, Boulevard. What's that juicy caster vision tell you?
It's telling me it's taking a second to get into Pirucream's game. All right, here we go. Pirucream's hand is Harshwind's Reckoning, Trifarian Assessor, Ash.
Ash. Okay, so it was an Ash.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why we didn't think of Ash the whole time. Like, I guess it's kind of weird to play an Ash there. Well, because
we thought that Ash was fine because you just, you push a lot of damage on that turn because you're just going right over the top of the Swain.
Yeah, it's weird that we didn't see it played. So, but Harshwind's Reckoning still a thing. So, I imagine now we see Ash come down, and then we're gonna get the Harshwind's Reckoning. So, like I mentioned before, now we have a five attack unit. The question is there a way to kill this on the side of another Hipster? There is the Flock, but it's not stunned. All right, actually, we'll get stunned out by the Swain.
So, interesting thing about spectator mode in Legends of Runeterra that I'm finding out right now. So in Hearthstone, when you started to spectate somebody, it would take you in the instance that the game was actually in. In Legends of Runeterra, it puts you at the start of the turn no matter what, and then speed runs every interaction to happen that turn.
Really?
Yeah, it happened when I spectated Pirucream, and it happened again. So I go into Pirucream, the first thing I see is the Ezreal level up animation, and then the things start to come down. I go back to Hipster, first thing I see again, Ezreal level up animation.
That's interesting. So it's loading it at different intervals.
Yeah, that's really... I mean, it's just showing me everything that happened that turn, I think.
Or possibly, yeah, just to get you caught up. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So we do have Culling Strike, it looks like, coming down on the Babbling Bjerg. And yeah, it's really unfortunate for Pirucream because, honestly, a Harsh Winds into Reckoning feels really good on this board because you will board clear. But this Flock onto this Ash, because unfortunately you're not going to be able to get the Harsh Winds and Reckoning off before the Swain and the Leviathan combo decides to do its thing, and this is looking like it's just going to be game for another Hipster. We're going to a game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, and now the first thing that you kill has to be that Neverglade Collector, or you just lose the Leviathan, going to put you down to 1. You might even just top deck a Shroom for lethal. And one thing that I do want to point out is I think that Avaros and Sentry has been on the field since turn 2.
That does feel a little bit bad, not going to lie.
Hipster just never felt like he had to kill that card. Yeah, that is the surrender. That is going to make sense. And SJW, take it away. I am going to be right back.
Alrighty. Wow. All right. So we do have a tie ball game, ladies and gentlemen, between another Hipster and Pirucream. So we're going to go ahead and get started with game 3 here in just a second. Honestly, I'm actually very surprised to continue to see Midrange Frostbite still do its thing. I mean, in that case, it actually lost the game, so it didn't do too well in that last game that we just saw. But I'm still seeing it, and me and Boulevard, we're both seeing it highly represented in so many different tournaments. We were talking earlier about how it's basically been around since the dawn of time. Every single meta game, it continues to pop up over and over and over again. And I don't know. I'm not very impressed with it as of late. It doesn't seem like it's really doing too great of a job at battling the metagame as it currently stands. But we'll see if it's able to, see if it's able to gain any traction here over the next couple of weeks as the meta finally starts to kind of shape up here. But we are going to get into game 3 where we get to see it in action again. This time going up against Leona Asol, which... honestly, I gotta say, Boulevard, I really feel like the Leona Asol has the advantage here versus Midrange Frostbite.
Really? I was going to say the exact opposite, because single combat and concerted strike are terrible into Frostbite effects.
Yes, but I feel like, I don't know, just all these stuns, the ability to shut down the field on the side of Pirucream, eventually leading into an Asol. Like, I feel like the Asol is the ultimate goal of the Leona Asol deck. Once that happens, it's going to be really hard, I feel, for Pirucream to deal with that.
Yeah, I didn't think Pirucream was going to have too much trouble ending the game before Asol was ever a consideration. And I don't think Asol ever gets to level since Harsh Winds can completely negate that.
So you're thinking the usual either like Ash OTK or we get like a turn 8 Farron for just close out the game or something like that.
Yeah, something like plus Reckoning just destroys a lot of this deck, and this is once again the Resplendent Stellacorn version. So I don't think that matters too much in this matchup, though. I am curious to see how it all plays out, but I definitely feel like mid-range Frostbite is going to be a little bit favored here.
Yeah, you might be right. I will say, we've been talking up Judgment all day. Judgment is very bad versus Frostbite.
Yeah, that is just 8 mana, get flash for no
8 mana, do nothing. Gotta love them. So, yeah, we'll see who's able to take this one away. A big Reckoning early on could definitely help Pirucream take this one away. Another Hipster, I'm trying to think, with what you just mentioned with the Frostbite and things of that nature, I'm curious as to how another Hipster is going to play this early game if we're going to try to be aggressive. I mean, we do have 2 Pale Cascade. We do have the curve from Leona into Ravoon. So it's very possible we get a much bigger, wider field from another Hipster than Pirucream early on to start this game.
Yeah, both players kind of carving out exactly how they would want to through the early turns, though. I mean, another Hipster misses turn 2, but not necessarily going to be too upset about the fact that he's floating a little bit of spell mana. Not going to go for the Pale Cascade kill onto this Avaros and Trapper, though. And I don't think Omen Hawk is a widespread feature in the Frostbite mid-range decks, and we see it playing against Pirucream's card advantage a little bit. He does have 2 +2/+2 units on the top of his deck, but so far these Trappers stunting the early game growth a little bit, and I don't know that the Yetis really offer up a whole lot, especially if they are coming down on turn 4 on the off turn. This is what the position that you love to be in here on the side of another Hipster is just going into turn 4. My opponent has the attack token.
Wow.
Let me get down this juicy Leona, but instead even gets the Meteor Shower.
Yeah, that's perfect too. I mean, we've seen in the past mid-range Frostbite playing things like Elixir of Iron, but they've since changed to Troll Chant, and unfortunately with only 1 mana there, Troll Chant not going to be able to do its job. So we go into turn 5 where another Hipster looks like we are just going to get down a Ravoon and get that Leona a little bit closer to leveling up, and going to get matched with a 7/7 Hearthguard, and that I think is going to shut down another Hipster for at least probably just the rest of the game, to be honest with you. Well, it's going to be hard to get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, he can Pale Cascade the Ravoon, but that's not really... you don't want to trade away the Ravoon. And now, so we talk a lot about the Ash lethal, right? Let's talk about the surprise Leona lethal that is suddenly available for another Hipster. When you have out Ravoon and, 2 copies of the Morning Light, that's 4 stuns.
Yeah, the second I saw that third Leona drawn, I was like, all right, how do we set up this huge Morning Light turn? It's going to happen. She's already
not only
up.
that, but it's available next turn.
Yeah, super fast. Super fast.
I don't know that you have enough units to make it worth it at the moment. Maybe you do. You probably do want to get down that other Solari Shield Bearer, and that is going to sort of take you off of the double. But, maybe Pirucream just doesn't drop enough units to make it worth it. There is still one thing that is missing an Omen Hawk buff, unless that... Actually, can I see what this was buffed by?
Yeah.
I can. Okay, so Hearthguard buffed the Yeti, so there is another +2/+2 unit in the hand that was double buffed by Omen Hawk.
Yep. Yeah, and so it's interesting, though. So we mentioned the Morning Light. I don't think... Even Morning Light, I don't think is really going to be enough for another Hipster, just because of how big the field already is for Pirucream. We would actually... So we do have both in one turn that we could play. How many stuns is that going to be?
If you
each.
Play both, it's
it's
2 each.
So actually, all right. Wow, that would be insane. How much do we have on field? That would only be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 9.
Or just taking it off the table, blocking with the Priestess.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe thinking about holding it back. Because if we do Pale Cascade here, then the Shield Bearer into the Morning Light is 3 stuns. Our opponent's going to have 3 units left, and maybe that's just enough to take it to the bank. It's not quite lethal, but I do think it is something that Hipster wants to start to poise himself towards.
Oh, yeah, I'm so curious. I mean, what is the right decision here? I guess, this is safe, because with 1 mana, Pirucream's not going to have any response to this. They're just going to lose the Yeti, so that's good. But I really wonder if it might have been the right decision to just go for lethal next turn with the 2 Morning Lights.
I don't think it was lethal when you only have 3 units.
I think it was because it's +4 to everything, and the
Oh
whole
yeah, that's
stun,
true.
the whole field.
The
would be
problem is
stunned.
that if Pirucream plays anything after the fact, he can just block one of them and it's not lethal, and you're down
Yeah.
a couple more cards than you want to be in a value-centric matchup like this. But I mean, we are getting closer and closer to this Aurelion Soul turn. Pirucream just, I don't know, man. I feel like generally we don't see mid-range Frostbite struggling to hang on to cards like this, even when they don't find the Trifarian Assessor. But Pirucream's got to find one in a timely fashion because his deck is double Hearth-guarded. That's gonna feel really good as long as you can actually, take advantage of that and try to play a longer game because you're Cosmic Inspirationed at this point.
Yeah, and your Trifarian Assessor, that's what I was looking for, is probably unless you had it in the first hand, is probably a 5 attack unit as well. So if it does come down, it's going to be drawing 3. Looks like we are.
All right, we're going for it.
All right. I'm surprised. So if we go for it here, it seems like he wants to keep open the Pale Cascade mana, as opposed to playing something like the Shield Bearer.
Well, this is also just a really value Morning Light because not only are you going to get the 2 stuns, but you're also going to get a randomly generated Daybreak card as well as a Celestial Invoke off of the Solari Priestess. And I mean, it's possible that with the hand that you have available to you, you were just like, yeah, this is a really good value play that is also going to push a lot of damage. I really like this out of Hipster, even if he's not going for lethal. And if Pirucream does have to play a big card here, you can still get down, one of these other units. This looks like it might be some kind of freeze effect into a Calling Strike.
We'll see what Pirucream has. Is it me or did the Celestial card... Is it not showing the Celestial card yet?
Not yet.
Or not the... Or sorry, never mind. I was thinking it was Celestial. It was the Daybreak card from Ravune. So I was like expecting a Celestial card to show up for some reason, but it's just the... Oh wait, no. There was a Celestial card. What am I talking about?
Yeah, it's weird.
Now the game's messing with my head. I don't know what's going on. So where did it go?
I don't know, because Leona's Morning Light shouldn't give you the Celestial until after... Yeah, that is weird.
Wait.
Yeah, so you don't even get the Celestial because, the unit's no longer on field when you go for that. Is it like a weird spectator bug where it shows us the options that would have popped out?
Yeah, whoa. That was weird.
Oh, a little trippy.
Are we sure that's how that works? You wouldn't get the Celestial?
Well, yeah, no, because Leona's Morning Light hasn't resolved yet, so the unit's not on field when it does resolve to activate all Daybreak effects.
So maybe you pick it prior to your opponent responding?
Maybe.
And then your opponent responding kills the unit, and then you no longer get what you picked? That's kind of like nah, you can't get this.
It's either that or it's a spectator thing where it saw Leona's Morning Light get played on that, and it's like, yeah, here are the options. And then it's like, just another Hipster never sees those options.
That was really weird. Wow, okay.
It was a little trippy, I'll give you that. But we do now get a little bit of card draw on the side of Pirucream. Going to draw 3 off that Assessor, feeling really good about that position. Could get down another stun with another Daybreak unit, but only one more, and is going to go for the Priestess. Got Written in Stars, got Fallen Comet, and Traveler. And which one are you taking here, SJW? I think Written in Stars is kind of off the table at this point.
I feel like Traveler, but it looks like we went for the Comet. I'm thinking that we really want to try to get rid of some of the field on the side of Pirucream. I would have liked to get maybe a larger Celestial spell, as far as that's concerned, using the Traveler, but looks like we're going for the Comet, and that is going to stun the Assessor, still going to give us a really nice attack here, and honestly, we could see the Aurelion Soul coming up next. This is, coming up soon, I should say, not next. This is turn 8 coming up, so unfortunately, not going to be able to play Aurelion Soul. All
right, single combat well past its sort of usefulness, but
yeah.
Judgment's on the table if Pirucream doesn't respect it.
Listen, Judgment is never on the table in this matchup.
If Pirucream...
if you play like a Captain Farron and then like...
Well, no, so the problem is like if you play Captain Farron, Judgment isn't actually a punish because it's not killing anything other than the Trifarian Assessor.
Like...
Oh, 5/5 Bjerg. That is spooky. This could be an opportunity for the Judgment, though. Let me check real quick.
Well, we could also... So we have a Wild Sun Guardian has appeared. And this would be... What is that? An 8/7 when it comes down, I believe?
Yeah.
So that would essentially shut down the attack turn because it would trade with everything if another hipster does go that route. And there's also obviously the single combat. Now single combat would probably get frostbite at that point. So shield
Well,
bearer.
so the one thing that I did want to point out is that Pirucream is only playing one copy of Flash Freeze.
Uh, yeah, and then there's 2 brittle steels, which is not really going to be effective versus the judgment because you can just play around that. It's really the harsh winds you're going to have to worry about.
No, it's your opponent's on 4 mana.
So, all right, listen. It's an option, but I don't know if you ever risk, even with only 1 flash freeze, do you ever risk 8 mana on the off chance your opponent has flash freeze? Unless it's like a game, like you're going to die otherwise.
I'm thinking more about Pirucream over-developing into it.
What do you mean? Like he goes under 3 mana?
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And there he is. He's under 2 mana. He's under 4 mana.
Oh, boy. Oh, Jesus.
But another hipster's under 8 mana as well, and I think that's why Pirucream is going for it. Comet is still on the table, but none of these are looking like phenomenal options, and you really don't want to have to use it on this Trifarian Glory Seeker.
So actually, something I don't really think, because we haven't seen this interaction a lot, Troll Chant also severely impacts Judgment.
Yes.
So, and all the other combat tricks for that matter. So that's a 2 mana option that we now have to worry about, which is a big deal. So,
all right, this is where we're getting into Spooksville. You know, Hipster potentially representing lethal on the following turn between the Sun Guardian and the Leona's Morning Light. Oh, wow. Double Trifarian Glory Seeker. One of these killable by a single combat, but you're probably going to lose either the Leona or the Ravoon at this point.
Oh, that feels really bad because I mean that's the combo that you need to stick to the board right now in order to win this game, I think, for another hipster. And if they're both getting picked off here, things are not looking good for another hipster now.
And yeah, it's been the attacks have lined up on the side of Pirucream in a way that you can't save it with single combat and Pale Cascade. You're not going to be able to save both. You are going to lose one of these at the very least, and you can single combat, but you're still going to lose another unit if that's the case.
I mean, I feel like, you have 2 Daybreaks left in hand. I don't imagine you're playing both in the same turn, so I think you can go ahead and single combat the Ravoon away into the other Glory Seeker to save the Leona, perhaps. That probably gives you the best shot at winning the game, I think. I feel like you need the Leona to stick, because the only reason another hipster's been able to make it this far in the game is from stunning out all of these units on the side of Pirucream. I mean, we have a 7/7 and a 6/6 that aren't able to attack this turn. That's a big deal.
I mean, you do have another Leona in hand, but it looks like he is going to look to protect the Leona. The problem is that the Morning Light Lethal isn't nearly as effective without the Ravoon on board either. Just because you're not going to be able to... You're going to get the 2 stuns, but you can't get any more stuns than that.
And... okay, so this isn't bad. I guess this also gets rid of the other
This takes
Glory
out
Seeker.
both Glory Seekers, which is good because currently... if you do single combat into Ravoon, then this Glory Seeker is the second thing that would get stunned if you go for a Morning Light. And that is not good for you. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yep.
Morning Light's still not representing anything close to lethal, though. It is only going to get 2 stuns, and then, a decent amount of your board would actually get traded into Eclipse Dragon.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go for the... Morning Light, though. So, I mean, it stinks that the dragon wasn't drawn earlier just to play the, Aurelion Soul like on turn 8 or something like that. But either way, Aurelion Soul will be able to be played cheaper than usual, which is very good for another hipster, not having to commit as much mana. But we'll see how this Morning Light plays out. I'm actually very curious here because I imagine Pirucream will have something else to develop into this as a blocker.
Probably, and it's only going to be 2 stuns on the side of Pirucream. So, I mean, you do still have blockers that are able to actually threaten the life of this Leona. See what Celestial does end up getting picked up here. Golden Sister's still playable. Falling Comet's still playable as well. Already have one of those in hand. You'd actually probably feel really good if you have double Falling Comet.
Yeah, this is... I think this is the turning point where things just start to go really downhill for another hipster. Because this Morning Light just doesn't seem great. It's like sure you're gonna
Yeah.
stun a couple of units and you might be able to trade with the 5/4 and the 5/5, but if another blocker comes down, this is just a really bad attack turn. You do have Comet to take care of one of the blockers, but still just feels really bad. I don't know.
Yeah, if you had Ravoon, I'd feel really good about your spot because then
Yeah.
you could get down Sun Guardian alongside Morning Light, and if that happened, this would be like a 14 attack Sun Guardian, and then your
Seems
opponent
okay.
has to pre-commit mana to a Frostbite effect because everything's stunned already. Yeah, the double Glory Seeker on the side of Pirucream last turn really is keeping them in this game, and maybe we just see another Calling Strike onto the Priestess here, continue to deny this Celestial Invocation. Yep. Oh, no, it's going to be
wow.
onto the Shield Bearer this time.
Okay.
I mean, and that makes sense. These are going to turn into a 5/7 and a 5/8 respectively. That's not something that you want to be killing your units for. But now Pale Cascade is a realistic option to try and save this unit.
Yeah, which doesn't feel too bad. I guess the question is, you have this Comet in hand. You're going to have another Celestial. The question is, do you think you're going to live long enough to be able to play all these cards? And even now, like, look at every card in another Hipster's hand is a huge mana commitment. This is not good at this point right now. Like, we need playable cards.
Yeah. And something to keep in mind is that Eclipse Dragon only reduces the cost of Celestial units. It is not going to put that Falling Comet down to 4 mana.
Yeah. That would be pretty clutch right about now. Now, we do... Let's see, if everything loses... No, we still don't have enough to actually level up the Aurelian Soul. Again, we could play the Eclipse Dragon to play the Aurelian Soul cheaper. There's that. Could also play the Golden Sister cheaper, which I think at this point we're probably going to need to do. And
unfortunately, you can't play Eclipse Dragon and Golden Sister in the same turn, though.
Yeah. And
things looking a little bit awkward for another Hipster here for the following turns.
Yeah, going for this attack too, which means we're definitely going to be trading this Leona, it looks like.
Okay, I actually like the all-out attack because, your opponent then does want to block the Solari Priestess to try and get value where you get to push a lot more damage in that regard. Maybe it's not worth the all-out attack being 8 damage. Oh, yeah,
man.
this Harsh Wind's gonna preserve the board of Pirucream, who, once this Morning Light wears off, this could just be a reckoning for another Hipster.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
It could be.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be. It has to be, because even if you think your opponent might have another Pale Cascade or something, you're really only saving one unit on board, and yeah, that's not gonna work out too well.
And this is the part where Hipster's hand is so expensive. Hush being the only card that costs less than 6. Luckily spell mana exists, so he is still going to be able to run out multiple cards in a turn. But if Pirucream does open with the Reckoning here, I don't even know if Hipster can actually survive that.
No.
You can't get down Judgment and another unit, and that might be all it takes. And maybe Golden Sisters is enough to save you with the lifesteal.
Actually, it is. Yeah, because you can block the 7/7 and trade with something else, and you would actually live with the Golden Sisters. Which, I mean, listen, that might be enough even, right? Because you can play Golden Sisters and Comet this turn, and then you'll have Eclipse Dragon next turn. Like, you can start to redevelop some really big units going into next turn. There's the Reckoning. Can't save a single thing here. Wow, this feels really bad for another Hipster. You hate to see it.
It's really great in spectator mode where, Legends of Runeterra highlights your playable card, and you're looking at an 8-card hand and only one of them is glowing blue.
Yeah, it feels bad. What can you do in response to this? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, whoa, you can silence a unit this round.
I would say that matters if silencing one of these 5/4s or 5/5s actually prevented the Reckoning, but unfortunately that's not a thing.
No, it does not do that. So now, what does Hipster want to get down this turn? If you play... it has to be Golden Sister, right? And maybe you're thinking... Okay, yeah, I ran the numbers. I was trying to think, like, if I Eclipse Dragon, does Hush actually let me live at 1 if I, block and then Hush the biggest one? But not going to be enough, so you do have to get down the Sisters. Shouldn't be anything Pirucream can actually do to push through this. Harsh Wind's off the table. Reckoning number 2 not available due to the mana constraints. But Brittle Steel onto the Golden Sister could be a big enough life point swing still on the side of Pirucream that he is able to finish it off with an open attack on the following turn. But, I mean, Hipster could develop...
Ooh.
Okay. That does... I think you have to...
Do you comment? I guess you comment the Glory Seeker, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that is going to be the case.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so... Hipster could actually be okay here. Because if Hipster lives, and then just straight up plays Aurelian Soul next turn, you're not getting through Aurelian Soul Judgment.
Well, unless you have another Frostbite.
You need the Frostbite to get through the Spell Shield.
Oh, you need 2 Frostbites, and we already saw Harsh Winds played, so you need exactly Flash Freeze and Harsh Winds from your deck.
Or Flash Freeze Troll Chant. But that's, I mean, you've only got 2 cards left.
Ice Veil Archer gets under
Archer
it,
would do it,
but it doesn't kill
you
the
have Hush.
Yes. Wait, does Hush... Wait, Spell Shield doesn't negate your own Hush. So, all right.
And it will turn off the Spell Shield for the turn, but then you would still need Ice Veil Archer and a Flash Freeze or a Harsh Winds.
Yep.
And with only 2 cards left in your hand, I'm not really liking those odds for Pirucream.
Yeah, no, I think this Aurelian Soul will actually do it. There's one... Okay, we do still live, even though we Brittle Steel the Golden Sister, which is a very big deal here. So thank God for that comment. And yeah, I think that's all you can really play for right now is Aurelian Soul into Judgment and just pray. Which honestly, if we see any card come out of Pirucream this turn, there's a pretty good shot that all those random scenarios that we just went through aren't even going to happen anyways. And we'll just be able to just pretty freely play Aurelian Soul with this Judgment.
What's going to be really funny though is if Pirucream responds with a Captain Farron.
Ooh, that's going to feel bad. That's going to feel bad if we just... Okay.
Oh, yeah, that is something that you would have needed next turn, not this one.
Yeah, actually... So, I don't know if that's a mistake then from Pirucream. I would not have played that on that turn. There's really no need to. You could have even taken the 10 damage there.
So, I mean, if Pirucream wants... it's so awkward, because if you only attack with 2 units, you're not representing lethal through Star Shaping.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is... Unless it is exactly Troll Chant Flash Freeze or Troll Chant Harsh Winds or, some combination of 2 of those 3 cards of which you only have, I think, 4 copies left, then another Hipster is actually going to take the set for Team Mafia.
If there's 2 Frostbite, that's crazy.
SJW, let me tell you that I was there.
Oh, man.
The LRA for Team Mafia.
I think Judgment actually just won the entire LRA season.
And that is now lethal on the open attack because that's a 14-14 Aurelian Soul.
Wow, I am never going to hear the end of it from you now.
You are absolutely not. I am vindicated. And he had the Ice Veil Archer.
Judgment has finally seen its day. It has won the LRA, or seemingly won the LRA. We're getting there.
We're getting there. It came up really big earlier in the day as well.
Wow, so if he had opened with the Ice Veil Archer, he would have...
Then the Hush still would have gotten
it. Oh, the Hush would have gotten it, yeah. Well, it depends on what the other card in his hand is.
I don't think it's a Flash Freeze.
Probably not. Wow, that is by far the absolute biggest Judgment. Swing, game-wise, fury-wise, all of it. Biggest one I've ever seen.
Oh, picks up a Supernova as well. I mean, so... You do still have lethal right now, though, because you have this Challenger. If that if it is a Flash Freeze that Pirucream fires off here...
Oh, wait, this would be it?
No.
It's a Harsh Winds!
It was a Harsh Winds. He had it.
Did.
He had Ice Veil Archer Harsh Winds.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely no respect paid for the Judgment.
Oh, because who plays around Judgment?
And it's open deck list, but with that, another Hipster does turn around the series, and Team Mafia are your first LRA champions. Congratulations to Diger and Rise, Nollup, Krios, Vig, another Hipster, Brunito, and Madria Madane. It starts with MR, and I don't know how to pronounce that.
All right, and unfortunately for Team Kraken, another Hipster going to go ahead and take home the W for Team Mafia Esports, and that means that Team Mafia Esports is your LRA champion for this first iteration of the LRA season number 1. So pretty exciting stuff. Congratulations to Team Mafia Esports. Link to their Twitter will be in the description below if you want to go ahead and check out the team itself. Awesome people, awesome community, and awesome. I love Mafia. I love Kraken. They're the two amazing teams right now in the up-and-coming Legends of Runeterra space. So excited to see what happens in the future and what the future holds for the LRA. But it's been an awesome season. Thank you to all the TOs. Huge shout out to Void for always being there, helping me, talking to me. So if you want to go ahead and follow Void on Twitter, also link in the description below. But lots of awesome, cool people to work with, and just a fun time. Always fun casting Legends of Runeterra. But until next time, everybody, as always, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope it just works for you, and peace out.